Nigeria heroes, including military personnel, veterans, and sporting legends, often experience suffering due to a combination of systematic neglect, corruption, lack of institutional support, and a broken welfare system. Despite their sacrifices for the nation, many find themselves abandoned in their time of need. In 2009, a young man named Akishola Anke, who was on fire to campaign for the importance of Nigerian national flag, did so much that I joined him on several campaigns. In 2010, myself and Joseph Baikusi Ecclesia magazine team drove to Ibadan to interview Baba Taiwo Akikumi, only to meet Baba laying down sick, no car to take him to the hospital. A man who served his country with the spirit of patriotism was only rewarded with £100 in 1969. Today, Akishola Anke had abandoned this patriotic project and he has gone to another country where his dreams and skills are valued and appreciated. In the 1960s into the early 1970s, my father, Sam Ademunjimi, contributed his patriotic quota to the construction of Ashejire Dam under the then Water Corporation of Oyo State, now Osun State, without any reward. But the foreign expatriates were duly compensated beyond normal pay. How would a man or woman serve his or her country for 35 years without stable salary, and upon retirement, they are still begging the governors and the president for their pension and monthly stipends? Recently, we saw how our military veterans were scrabbling for food at a function. How do you pay a police chief 2.7 million naira as his pension after serving those number of years? Families of fallen heroes frequently report not receiving promised pensions or death benefits, leaving them in poverty. Veterans often struggle to access adequate health care and support, with some reduced to begging in their old age. Many military personnel suffer from untreated PTSD, depression, and trauma resulting from long-term deployment in high-stress environments. Shame on us, a nation where politicians loot our common wealth and are rewarded, yet sacrifice and service are celebrated only in words but neglected in practice. Bless Nigeria.
It's sad because I think I've had one of my advocates talk about how Nigeria do not recognize the people that actually do things. They recognize the people that do the opposite, right? If you are doing something that is not adding value to the common man, you're elevated. But if you do something that is adding value to society, nobody cares about you. And it's so sad. And until we get to that point where we're elevating the right people, our society can never work. And especially in this time of social media, where most of the people that we elevate are people who have literally nothing to offer, right? Apart from just vibes and inshallah. When I started I Create Africa in 2016, right? The first thing I did was the whole of 2016, I just did research. I didn't do anything else. Research to really understand the problem around youth unemployment in Nigeria. 1 year, nothing else, just research. When I was researching, I found out about the world skills, which is like the Olympics of technical and vocational skills. They have about 87 member countries from across the world. It's massive. I mean, presidents of countries are present. I went all the way to Abu Dhabi for the first one. I spent a lot of money just to be able to get in, not just get in, but get in to a point where I'm able to meet with the president of the world skills. So much money, just, you know how it is. Navigate my way around it. I had to pay $3,000 per night in a hotel that the guy was staying so I can meet him downstairs for breakfast and talk to him. And I was able to get access. And I was at a press conference that was very exclusive, but because of the access I got from the hotel, they got me into the room. And I asked a question where he had all the hosts, including one of the prince of Abu Dhabi. And I said, this is lovely. I mean, the space in which they host this event, you can't walk around the space in 4 days. You can't. It's impossible. I mean, just Google the world skills. The opening ceremony is as big as the Olympics. Everything you see is exactly how it is.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is amazing. I've gone around, I've seen everything, it's beautiful, but I've noticed that if this is the world skills, how come we just have 4 African countries represented and the rest of the world is here? And they're like, okay, it's the bureaucracy, trying to get government to come on board, it's the structure and all of that. And I'm like, it's because a lot of people don't know about it within the continent. And if you're able to do a smaller version of this so people can have an idea, then they can be able to say, oh, we want to be a member country. And I took it upon myself when I got back to Nigeria in 2018, and I decided to do the first ever Skills Festival. Just a sample, like a smaller version of the World Skills. I did that for 5 years in Abuja, in Enugu, in Lagos, just to raise awareness. I went all the way to Russia in 2019 with the winners of our competition to the World Skills in Russia. I mean, Kazan, Russia, right? I started chatting with the president on WhatsApp to say, oh, how can we get Nigeria to come on board? What are the procedures? I was speaking to ITF, NBT. I was going back. I was spending money because I wanted Nigeria to, I wanted our flag to be there. The problem we had that period was the fact that NBT and ITF are dragging who's going to be the face of it. Went back and forth, and finally, that government passed away. A new government came into power, and then this current government is so interested in skills, in TVET, and so they're like, we have to join. Now, after all of the process, after all of the dicing, finally we joined the World Skills. 3 days ago, somebody from ITF sent me a link, and it was the committee. The government put a committee together of the people that will represent Nigeria at the World Skills.
You're not there.
And I'm like, so the crazy part is, even people within the World Skills reach out to me to say, how are you not on this list?
Does that make sense?
Like, in the whole of the continent, you've literally done more for skills, and you've literally modeled this more than anybody else. How are you not on? And I'm like, that's Nigeria, baby. I can't really say. Now, am I mad that I'm not part of the people? I'm not mad at that because I already have my thing that I'm doing. In fact, as we speak, the World Skills is trying to model the builder's shoe for other trades. I'm already creating that model. The sad part for me is just the fact that, now I don't know the people that are there, but if at the end of the day, which this is the same thing that happens across every single sector, where you have people who do not understand being in position where they have to make decisions for everybody else, they will not be able to make the right decision, and everybody else suffers.
Because they don't understand the journey to that decision.
You have no idea. You have no idea. So at the end of the day, the pain for me is how we end up participating in this structure and not benefiting because we have people. And like I said, I don't know the people that are there, so I'm not really judging. But I'm just saying, my sadness for me is, if you're going to decide to do this, work with people who really have the competency, that have the network within the system, that have the expertise to be able to make this work. And that's where we have a disconnection.
My dad supervised the construction of the stadium in Benin. There's a story he told us. When they were constructing that stadium, he was renovating. His driver, then, this was the 80s. They were going to pay salaries in cash. They had a lot of cash, and the driver told him, sir, let's corner this money. I would arrange the accident, and I will shoot you, and then we'll stage manage the robbery. My dad almost passed out. He said, how? He said, don't worry, I'll sort it out. My dad said, no. I can't do that. And he told my dad that, this man that resigns to so-and-so, they say, that's robbery.
Where did you from?
That man he mentioned, I know that family, I won't mention, of course I can't mention them. They are very large now. The money that they stole then, they are still eating that money till now.
And Nigerians are worshipping them.
This is a personal story. It's not, I can't name names, but one of the reasons we're still in this country the way we do is because of this thing you mentioned. Until we start to give people an honest, genuine life after national service. Stealing is we're just seeing we're still rehearsing. It will continue in government.
I think even beyond those that have done national service, there has to be value for life.
Yeah, of course.
Nigerians our leaders don't value the common person. Like, you don't value that this is a person that is entitled, and I'm deliberately using that word entitled to a decent level of living. Because I think I've said this.
Value on life.
I've said on Unstable, when you travel around, they've been, where do we want to say we went to? All of us here have gone to that they've never been to. They have. They see the standard that is placed on living. They see what it means to maintain a structure, whether physical or systemic structure. Even leave it at physical. They see what a school building, how it's maintained. You know, oh, this coffee has to be there. People are giving decency. And if you're put in that kind of environment, you probably won't be thinking like
You want to steal
what that driver just talked about.
Yeah.
So we have built a society where there is a huge wall. The other side of it is for those who have access to the national cake and they are living large. And even in that living large, they are suffering, but they also don't know it. Because you talked about someone driving a 100 million naira car inside
4 hours traffic.
on top of bad road, not just 4 hours traffic.
What will reward continues? Our reward system in Nigeria is very warped.
Faulty.
We don't particularly look at the things we amplify. We are very comfortable with wealth without value. We are very comfortable with wealth without explanation. You know, and that is the root of most of the issues we have in Nigeria. Talking about the heroes past, right, or people who were in active service. Even the people who were in service, even the people in active service, can they afford a decent life? Do they have dignity
system is
in their life? So again, the issues are multidimensional, and till we place a whole lot more value in providing decent life for all Nigerians, irrespective of status, irrespective of age or years of service, we are always going to find ourselves in this situation. And that is the root of corruption, because at the end of the day, what everybody is fighting for is to be able to afford the future security.
What we reward, we elevate. Where greed and impunity is rewarded and sacrifice trampled on, I ask you, what are you elevating in your corner?